Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying beautiful weather. I know we are in my neck of the woods. We're in the middle of spring and I'm absolutely enjoying it. I'm one of the lucky ones because I'm not affected by pollen very much. Now I know not everybody's having spring around the world. I know I have viewers that are international viewers that don't live in the US. And maybe you're having the opposite. Maybe you're having winter. I don't know. But wherever you are, I hope you're enjoying yourself, making beautiful jewelry and having fun. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to make that gorgeous jewelry set that you saw in the intro. It consists of a necklace, a couple of stretch bracelets, and a pair of earrings. And I'm going to be using the beads that came in the GGC Treasure bag, the spring edition. It was released over a month ago, I believe. And I did do an unbagging video. I'll link it down below if you haven't seen it. And if you don't have the bag, don't worry, you can still make this project. You're just going to have to find similar beads. And I will leave a list of all the materials down below in the description section of this video. If you scroll all the way down, you'll see it. You'll see the dimensions, the colors, the shapes, and everything that I'm going to be using to make today's project. And of course, I'll also leave a link to the website, the GGC Treasure Bag website, in case you're interested. And I believe she's releasing the next one this weekend. So if I were you, I'd go to the website and sign up for notifications so that you can be notified every time she releases a bag. And I have to tell you, they sell out very quickly. It's a very popular bag. And it's popular because it comes packed with all kinds of strands, guys. And they're very long strands as well. The thing I like about the GGC Treasure bag is that it's always beautifully curated. The colors are always gorgeous. And there's always lots of variety and lots to choose from. It's easy to find inspiration when you have so many options. But anyway, guys, before we get started, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please think about doing so because it really does help my channel. And it helps me to stay motivated to create more videos for you. Another thing that helps my channel is if you leave comments down below and give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. And don't forget that I always model my pieces, so if you stick around till the end, you'll see it. And I don't want to keep talking because we have a lot to do today. So let's go ahead, turn the camera around, and we'll get started. And here we have the GGC Treasure bag. This is the spring edition. The name of this collection is Spring Palette. I've already done an unbagging video for this collection. And if you haven't seen it, I'll link it down below in the description section of this video. And since there are so many items in this bag, I'm just going to go ahead and pull out the beads that we're going to be using today. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Here are the beads we're going to be using for the necklace. We're also going to use some of these for the bracelets and the earrings, but I'll pull those out later on. Let me just go over these real quick with you. These are pentagon faceted beads. They're 5mm in dimension. And the color of these beads is mint. They came in a 20-inch strand, so we got quite a few of them. These are called golden foil painted glass beads, and they're in a pale pink color, as you can see. They measure 6mm across, and they came in a 15-inch strand. These are electroplated faceted rice crystal beads. They're a pale yellowish green color. They measure 19 by 8mm. We got a total of 5 in the bag. We're going to use 4 of them for the necklace, and we're going to use the 5th one for a bracelet. And this bead here is a polyhedron crystal. It measures 10mm in size. And it came in a bag with 5 other colors, and this is the pink color. We're going to use it to create a pendant. We're actually going to connect it to this pendant right here. It's a beautiful faceted pink glass pendant. It measures 32 by 8 by 4mm. And I love it because it's transparent. It's so beautiful. Look at this, guys. Isn't that pretty? And there's the back. So now that we've gone over the beads, let me show you what else we're going to be using. As you can see, I have a bunch of bead caps, and these are from my own stash. They're Tibetan style bead caps, and I got them on Amazon. They came in a bag with a variety of sizes. These are pretty tiny. They're about 4mm in size, and I think these measure 8mm in size. Now the bead caps are optional. You certainly don't have to use them. I just think it adds a nice touch. I'm going to be using some Miyuki seed beads, and these are size 8-0. The color is galvanized gold, and I'll be using them to separate beaded segments on the necklace. I'll be using some craft wire, and this is 22 gauge non-tarnishing craft wire, and it's in a gold color, as you can see. I'm not particular about the brand, but I do try to use non-tarnishing wire. I'll be using some beading wire, and this is 49 strand beading wire. It's 0.018 inches in diameter, or 0.46mm, and it's in a gold color, as you can see. I don't have very much left. Hopefully I'll have enough of the necklace. And here I have a few other items. I have some clamshell covers with loops. We're going to use those to hide the crimp tubes. I also have some crimp tubes here. These are size 2 by Beadalon. And I have 2 jump rings. They're 6mm in size, and a lobster clasp. And I think that's it for the necklace. So now that we've gone over the materials, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start by creating the pendant, and these are the items we're going to be using. As you can see, I have the 10mm polyhedron faceted bead. I have the pendant, and I also have 2 bead caps. Like I said before, they measure 8mm across. I'll be using my 22 gauge wire, and I'm going to cut myself a 3-inch piece. Let me straighten it out a little bit before I do that. I'm going to be creating a wrap loop. So I'm going to grab the wire about 1.25 inches down, kink it, switch to this part of the wire, take the tail and wrap it around the nose of my pliers, flip my pliers around and continue to wrap that tail to the back. And now I'm going to create some wraps. I like to use these pliers to grab the loop. These are actually crimping pliers, but they have a very skinny tip and they grab really well. And now I'm going to use these pliers to grab the tail and create my wraps. I usually only do about 2 wraps, but you can certainly do more if you want to. And now using my flush cutters, I'm going to cut off the excess. And now we need to tuck that little tail in. We don't want anything sharp. And now I'm going to thread on a bead cap, and then the polyhedron bead, and the other bead cap. I think that looks really nice. And now I'm going to grab the wire right where the bead cap is, line up the bottom loop, kink it, switch to this part of the wire, take the tail and wrap it around the nose of my pliers, flip my pliers around, continue to wrap to the back. I'm going to open up this loop a little bit so I can insert the pendant. And once again, I'm going to grab the loop with my skinny pliers. And with another set, I'm going to grab the tail and do my wraps. Make sure my loops are lined up. Snip off the excess. Let me tuck in that little sharp end. And there's my pretty pendant. I think it looks lovely. So now that I've created the pendant, I'm going to move on to the strands. Let me get the beads for that. Here are the beads for my strands. I have the pentagon faceted beads in the mint color. I have the golden foil painted glass beads in a pretty pink color. I have the faceted rice beads. I would actually call those barrel beads. Rice beads are usually a lot smaller, but that's how they were listed in this collection. I have my size 80 seed beads, and I have 2 size bead caps. I think these are about 5.5 millimeters across, and these are 4 millimeters. I'm going to use these on the barrel beads, and I'm going to use these on the pink beads. Now I've already played around with this design, so I kind of know what I'm doing. And if you follow my channel, you'll know that I use something called magic rods. I carry these in my Etsy store. I like to use these to arrange my bead patterns. And the reason I like these is because I can put all kinds of beads on these rods. I can load large beads along with small beads and bead caps as well. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, well, I can do that on a beading board. You most certainly can. But the difference is that I'm able to bring my beads and bead caps in close using these stoppers. And by doing that, I get accurate measurements. Now, full disclosure, guys, these stoppers do come off easily with time because they get kind of loose, which is one of the reasons I include a bag full of stoppers with every order. So if you're thinking about getting these, I just want you to know that that's what can happen. There's nothing more frustrating than loading your beads and then having them slide off. I always start out with fresh stoppers no matter what. Another thing you can do is buy some clamps. One of my viewers suggested that, and I actually tested it, and it works really well. Let me show you. Here's an example of a clamp. If I'm working with heavy beads, I like to use these clamps because they really do hold on very strongly and the beads will never slide off. You can get these really cheap on Amazon. But anyway, I'm going to be using the 12-inch length. I have 2 lengths. I have 9 and I have 12. I like to use the 12s for necklaces, and I like to use the 9s for bracelets. Let me just go ahead and get started with one. I'm going to load half a necklace on one, and then I'll load the other half on the other. Let me remove the stopper. And I think I'll start with the barrel beads. So I'm going to load a bead cap, and then a barrel bead, and then another bead cap. I think that looks really nice. And now I'm going to separate the barrel beads with these pink beads. So let me load a bead cap. And then a pink bead. And another bead cap. That looks very, very attractive. And now another barrel bead. And another pink bead, so I'm going to load a bead cap first. And then the pink bead. And the other bead cap. I really love how this looks. So now I'm going to switch to the mint colored beads and I'm going to load them on this end. But I think I'm also going to load a pink bead here because this is where the pendant's going to go. And I think a pink bead will look really nice. Let me do that now before I forget. I'm going to put a stopper at this end. Flip my rod. Remove this stopper. And now I'm going to load a bead cap and a pink bead and another bead cap. That looks super cute. I love that. So the pendant's going to go here. This is the bottom of the necklace. And then the mint colored beads are going to go there. So now I'm going to load the mint colored beads. And like I said, I've already played around with this design, so I kind of know what I'm doing. I think I'm going to load 3 with a seed bead in between. That looks super cute. I love it. And now pink bead. And more of these mint colored beads. What do you think, guys? Doesn't that look great? I think these colors are so pretty. I love the electroplating on these barrel beads. So anyway, I'm going to continue building my necklace by loading these mint beads and pink beads this way. So I'm going to do both sides of the necklace off camera and I'll be right back. I'm back. As you can see, I've loaded both rods. And as you can see, I have identical lengths. That's one of the nice things about these rods. Like I said before, I can bring the beads up close to get exact measurements. Before I used the rods, I used to use beading boards. And beading boards are great, but when you're trying to work in seed beads like this, they don't work as well. You can never get the seed beads to sit up against the beads like this. So anyway, guys, let me go ahead and measure it. Each one measures about 8 inches, which is fine because by the time I add the pendant, the clamshell tips, jump rings, and lobster clasp, it'll be about 17 inches. Obviously, if you want something longer, you'll have to add more beaded segments like this. It's going to be completely up to you. So now we're going to load them onto beading wire. I've cut myself a 20-inch piece. I probably don't need as much because I'm going to be squashing the crimp tube. I'm not going to be doing the fold over method, but I always like to cut myself a little extra. I'm going to place a clip at this end so I don't lose the beads. And now I'm going to offload from the rods onto my beading wire. And I'm going to start at the top of the necklace, which is over here, and work my way down. To offload from the rod, you hold onto this end like this, slide the stopper off, and then slide the beads off, and load them onto your beading wire. It's as simple as that. Sometimes when the beads are the same size, I can grab multiples. But in this case, I'm just doing one at a time because the seed beads are a little bit small in comparison to the pentagon faceted beads. Now these I can actually grab all at once, the 6mm and bead caps, and load them on all at once, just like that. So let me keep loading these. As you can see, I've loaded one side of the necklace, and now I'm going to add the pendant. Here it is. I'm simply going to slide it onto the beading wire. And it's going to sit up against that bead cap like that. I think it looks very pretty. So now I'm going to keep loading the rest of the beads, and I'm going to start at this end. Let me flip my rod around. As you can see, I've loaded all my beads and now I'm ready to crimp it off. Here are my crimp tubes. I just need a couple of them. Here are my clamshell covers. Let me open them up a little bit to make it easier to crimp. So let me show you how to do this. I'm going to load a clamshell cover and I'm going in from the bottom and now crimp tube. And this end is actually pretty easy. The other end is more difficult to do. Using some chain nose pliers, I'm going to grab that tube and squash it. I'm going to trim off this end now. And before I close this clamshell, I'm going to test it to make sure the crimp tube's on there. And it's on there really well. Let me go ahead and close it up. And that's all there is to it. Pretty easy. Now, a couple of videos ago, I did a little test on camera. I tested the strength of the clamshell cover method because I know a lot of you are a little bit skeptical about the strength. So let me do that test again. I have one here. I don't know if this is the same one that I used last time, but let me just go ahead and demonstrate how strong these are. I'm going to grab the loop of the clamshell cover and I'm going to pull on this beading wire as much as I can. As you can see, my fingers are turning red. That's how hard I'm pulling. And it's not coming off, okay? As long as you use good quality crimp tubes and you crimp them really well, they should never fail. So now let me do the other end. I'm going to bring my beads all the way down. Make sure there are no spaces. Remove my clip. And now I'm going to load the clamshell cover first, going in from the bottom. And now the crimp tube. Check for spaces one more time. Like I said before, this end is a little bit more challenging because you have to reach in there. Once again, I'm going in with my chain nose pliers. I'm going to grab that tube, and before I squash it, I'm going to grab the beading wire and pull on it a little bit to make sure there's no spaces or gaps. And now I'm going to squash it. Let me turn it around and do this side. I like to squash it from both sides. And now let me test it. It's on there really well. So I'm going to cut off the excess beading wire and close up my clamshell. I think this is such a clean and professional look, and I'm telling you guys, this method is very, very secure. Here's my lobster clasp, and here are 2 jump rings. Let me open up this jump ring. Attach the lobster clasp, and now I'm going to connect it to one of these ends. Close up the jump ring. You do want to make sure you close it really well. You don't want any gaps. And by the way, guys, I like to use the clamshell covers that have 2 loops instead of 1 because I think 2 loops is more secure than 1. The chances of 2 loops sliding through a gap of a jump ring are very slim. Let me open up this one now. connect it to this end. See how professional and clean that looks? I really like it. So there's my pretty necklace. I think it's absolutely adorable. I love the combination of the mint and the pink. And these barrel beads really add a lot to the design. So now we're going to move on to a couple of bracelets, and they're going to be stretch bracelets. Let me get the materials for those. Here are the beads for the bracelets. As you can see, they're the same beads I use for the necklace. Each one of these lengths measures 7 inches. And basically, I just played around with the beads until I got the right length. Now, one trick that I like to use when I'm making multiple bracelets like this is to add a bail bead at the end. And these are Tibetan style bail beads, and I did get these on Amazon. They come in a variety of sizes and styles, and I think they came in bags of 100. I really don't remember because I bought them quite a while ago. But what I like about these is the fact that they come in different sizes and styles. So for example, on this top bracelet, I added the longer bail bead because I needed the extra length in order to get 7 inches. I also added some bead caps to the end. That's another little trick you can use if you're trying to get the exact length for bracelet sets. Another thing I like about these is that you can hide the knot, and since they're pretty roomy, you can make big knots. So let's get started. I'm going to be using some power cord, and this measures 0.8 millimeters in thickness, and it's in a clear color, as you can see. I'm going to cut myself 2 12-inch lengths. Now before you start, you should always stretch out your stretch cord. And the reason we're doing this is because with time, the beads are going to weigh down the stretch cord, and it may stretch it out if you don't pre-stretch it like this. Let me add a clip to this end. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to offload from the rods directly onto the stretch cord. So let me keep doing this and I'll meet you back. I'm back. As you can see, I've loaded both bracelets and now I'm ready to knot it off. But let me go over the bead pattern with you really quick. I don't think I've done that yet. On this bottom one, I have 8 pentagon faceted beads on this side and 8 on that side with seed beads in between. And then I have a total of 7 of the 6mm pink beads in the middle with bead caps and my bail beads at the end because that's where I'm going to hide the knot. And on this top one, I have a barrel bead in the middle with bead caps on each end. 2 6mm pink beads with bead caps, and then I have 3 mint beads with another pink bead, another 3 mint beads and another pink bead, and I ended with a mint bead at the end and a seed bead. Now the reason this bead cap is sitting there by itself is because I needed to have this end open so I can insert the knot, but once I make the knot and hide it inside the bail bead, this bead cap will be up against the bail bead. So let me do one bracelet with you and then I'll do the other one off camera. Let me move this one up. I did switch clips. These are a little bit smaller. Now I've done various types of knots throughout the years, but let me show you the one that I've been doing lately. I'm going to take my right side and go under my left side, and now I'm going to take this end and go over like this and under. And I'm going to bring the beads together, just like that. As you can see, I'm holding onto the bracelet with these fingers. And now I'm going to take my right side and go under my left side again. And now I'm going to take the tail and go through the loop 2 times. So that's once. And that's twice. So this is what you should have. As you can see, I'm still holding onto my bracelet with these fingers, and I have a couple of fingers inside the loop. So now I'm going to go ahead and separate my fingers like this to pull those beads in close, and I'm going to tighten the top knot as well. You want to tug from all ends. You want to tug on the bracelet as well as on the tails. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to take my right side, go onto my left side, and take the end and go through the loop 2 times. So that's once and twice, and pull. You want that knot nice and tight, and you want it nice and small. Let me show you. It looks pretty good. I'm going to cut off the tails now, but you do want to leave a little bit. You don't want to cut too close to the knot. So now before I slide it in, I'm going to apply some glue. Let me get the glue. I like to use GS Hypo Cement. It has a nice thin applicator. I'm going to apply it directly onto the knot. You don't want too much. And now I'm going to slide it into the bail bead. And you do want to let it dry. I usually let it dry for 24 hours before I wear it. It does dry quickly, but it needs time to cure. And now I'm going to attach a little charm to the bail bead, and this came in the collection. I believe there were a total of 3 different colors, pink, purple, and mint. And I thought the pink one would look really cute. I'm going to attach it using a very small jump ring. This one's 4 millimeters in size. Let me open it up. Tell me that's not adorable. I think it's so cute, guys. Look at this. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. So now to save time, I'm going to do this one off camera, and I'm going to do it the exact same way, nothing different. So let me do that, and I'll see you in a few moments. Here are my 2 bracelets. As you can see, I've knotted this one off, and I applied the glue. And now I'm going to create a little dangle with these beads. It's the same beads that I've been using, and I mounted them on a ball head pin, as you can see. So let me show you how to do this. I'm going to make a wrap loop, so I'm going to grab the pin right where the bead is, kink it, switch to this part, take the tail and wrap it around the nose of my pliers, flip my pliers around, continue to wrap to the back. Let me open up this loop. I'm going to slide the loop of the bail bead onto my pin and into the loop like this. And once again, I'm going to grab that loop with my skinny pliers, grab the tail with another set, and create a couple of wraps, just like I did with the pendant. And now I'm going to snip off the excess. And tuck in that little end. So here are my 2 pretty bracelets. I think they're absolutely adorable, and they're going to look really nice with the necklace. And once we finish the earrings, I'll lay everything out on my board so you can see how it all coordinates. So let me get the materials for the earrings now. Here are the materials for the earrings. As you can see, I've already built one, and I love these bead cones. I think they look really nice with these dangles. They're 18 karat gold plated brass bead cones. They measure 21.5 by 7 by 6 millimeters, and the bag came with a total of 5 of them. I have 2 of the pentagon faceted beads in the mint color, and I also have the 6 millimeter pink bead, plus a couple of bead caps. And I always like to use steel ear wires, and the reason is that they're hypoallergenic for most people. I'm mentioning this because a few months ago, a viewer left a comment that I should try to match the color of the metals, but I purposely don't because I just think a lot of people are allergic or sensitive to metals. Now, some people are sensitive to steel as well, believe it or not, but it's a very small percentage. So let me show you how to make this earring. I have 3 ball head pins. So let's go ahead and mount these beads on them. going to place the bead caps on the pink bead. Just like that. And I'm going to create a wrap loop just like I've been doing. But I'm going to leave it open. I'm not going to do the wraps just yet because we're going to be attaching some chain. Let me go ahead and do the same thing to these other two. So now I'm going to attach some chain to each loop. And here's my chain. Like I said before, these are 2 by 3 millimeter links. I'm not going to cut the pieces just yet. I'm going to attach the dangles first. So I'm sliding the link of the chain into the loop that I created, like this. And now I'm going to grab the loop with my skinny pliers. And with another set, I'm going to grab the tail and do a couple of wraps, just like I've been doing. Snip off the excess pin. Tuck in the little sharp end. It's a lot easier to cut off a segment of chain when it's this small if it's already attached to the dangle. So now I'm going to cut off a segment that has 8 links. So I'm going to snip off this one. So there it is. As you can see, I have 8 links. And these two are going to have different lengths. One's going to have 5 links and the other one's only going to have 2 links. So let me go ahead and do that. As you can see, I created all 3 dangles. So now we're going to connect these dangles to the bead cone, and I'm going to use some 22 gauge wire. Here it is. I'm going to cut myself a 3-inch piece. I'm going to make a loop. So I'm grabbing the wire 1.25 inches down, kink it, switch to this part, take the tail, wrap it around the nose of the pliers, flip the pliers around, and continue to wrap to the back. And before I create some wraps, I'm going to attach the dangles. I'm going to attach this one first. This is the medium one. And then the longer one. I'm simply sliding the links into the loop I created. And now the short one. Just like that. And now I'm going to grab a loop with my skinny pliers, just like I've been doing. Grab the tail and do a couple of wraps. Snip off the excess. Tuck in a little sharp end. Slide it into the bead cone. Grab the wire at the top of the bead cone. Kink it. Switch to this part. Take the tail, wrap it around the nose of my pliers. Flip my pliers around. Continue to wrap that tail to the back. Let me open it up so I can attach the ear wire hook. Like that. grab the loop with my skinny pliers, grab the tail and do a couple of wraps. Snip off the excess and tuck in that little sharp end. So here are my finished earrings. I think they look super cute. And now I'm going to get the rest of the jewelry and lay it out on my board. So let me do that and I'll see you in a few moments. Well, here's the entire set. We have this pretty necklace. We have a couple of stretch bracelets and a pair of earrings as well. I love the combination of the mint and the pink. And of course, I love the sparkly crystals. I think the whole set is very spring-like. I honestly wouldn't think about putting these colors together myself. So I'm very grateful that Gina from GGC Treasures did the curating and put the beautiful bead collection together. So anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. As always, I'd like to go ahead and model these for you. So let me put them on and I'll be right back. You know, I could wear this necklace in the springtime, but I could also wear it in the summertime because of the colors. And of course, the other thing that I like about this necklace is the beautiful sparkle. I love it. I've always been attracted to sparkly beads ever since I was a little kid. So anyway, guys, I hope I've inspired you. I hope you can make your own jewelry set. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.